Let's talk a bit about your work, okay?
Okay.
You do prints, paintings, sculptures, the kind of caustic thing you've done, all these different kinds of materials. Tell us what it's like, and do you have a favorite medium to work in, or what's it like going from one technique to another?
My favorite, if you I have to say, is oil on canvas, because I feel like each time I learn something new, not just the subject matter, but the way, for example, that painting, the bread, it's like I love the certain bread, but it's like a paint each bread like a portrait, and behind some bread, it's like a halo there. So it's like a figurative. But it's very interesting. You learn from new painting, new subject. You think a new way. But in terms of other media like print, etchings, or lithograph, or silk screen, or whatever you name, other things, woodcut. What I like about it is they challenge me. So safe, so not that I know each painting. I don't know how to do each painting in the beginning, but I still under my control and my studio. Like I go to Bad Sharks, and it's like I don't want to repeat what I have done before. I have to refresh my memory because I don't do print every day. So I just remember, his print shop, lithograph, is not big stone. It's plate. It's different than tamarind. 3-4 months roll out a big stone. And luckily, Jim Dye liked the stone be, standing up. So they made the stone not flat like this, I use that. So they said, only you and Jim Dye use the big stone. And then the limitation is not like my painting. I can freely render because you have to layer, you have to do the key plate, and then think about the color, think of other things. So I feel like it's limited. To me, limitation is a beauty because it forces you to work around, to work with the limitation, because oil can only do so much. And then lithograph is so different than etching. When I do etching on the copper plate, I have to be so good with drawing, freehand drawing, which I have a good background, but still challenging. Sometimes I want the image print out the way I want, so I have to do backwards. When you print out, it's the right way. So the thing, each print shop opened up a new door. There's a limitation, there's a new door. Because if they're limited there, you cannot get out. You open window, you open another door. So this connected to my work because I have a drawing, painting background. I am very good with that, they know. But also, it's unlike your painting. So you have each time like what do you call an old dog learn new trick? Old rat learn new trick every time. And sometimes so funny once a Paulson press. And I said, I want to do big print. And then that's the one you saw with 2 copper plates. And they sent me a really kind of lukewarm email back. It's doable. And so it becomes our joke. It's doable, meaning it will try. I want the biggest one possible. So I think it's very interesting when I use the acid to do the washes on a copper plate. And they gave me some, but I said, no, I need more than that. That's not enough for me. And then the way you put on the fan and pour the acids, the copper becomes green, like oxidized. It's so beautiful to see the process, which I can never do at my studio. So I did a lot of experimental work there and break some rules. That's always fun, and made them nervous sometimes. They made me nervous. And then sometimes I did painting, I want to try print. Sometimes did print, I try painting. Sometimes prints, just prints, state prints. I never did painting. So it's like, it's connected, it's different, and challenging, and fun, and also multiples. I over the years it donated to charities, to museum, to nonprofit. That's part of that too. It's like I can afford. I cannot donate all paintings. I can afford to do that. So it's printmaking really opened new doors for me. It's such a beautiful thing. In China, the Central Academy of Fine Art is so specific, oil painting department. Chinese painting department use brush on rice paper, but divide the figurative or landscape, or bird and flowers. And then graphic department, meaning those people only deal with printmaking. So I feel like now I can do anything you want. The cross, just break all the boundaries. It's really, really fun.
So much of your work dealt with the images of the proletariat and the Chinese women, men, but those fierce faces, that determination, that word you used earlier, that dignity. You can feel it coming out even though they're in oppressive situations. Then suddenly, Dorothea Lange, where did this all come from? Suddenly the American Depression and faces of people going through tough times in this country and other places. How did that happen?
I lived here long enough. Plus, I knew Dorothea Lange's work, especially the famous My Grandmother, for many, many years. A woman photographer in the 30s carrying heavy duty equipment, and not the digital age. Even digital age, some equipment heavy, but this woman drove along to the worst possible spot to shoot, to show people, she was hired by the government, to document what's really down there, how poor, because looking at, I see if Americans, we for many years the strongest country, the richest country, everybody wants to come here, but we have a history just like a lot of other cultures, and we have poor people, we have unforeseen, big natural, horrible tragedy from nature, from war, from anything you name. So Great Depression, always I come here too late. I was born too late, didn't catch it. But was not that far. It's and even once my work showed somewhere in Wyoming, and the University Museum, a guard there, because we're talking to students about the Great Depression, this young girl, in the 30s now is way probably 90, but then the security guard later, what, my grandma was one of those. And so where is grandma? Live in Sacramento, So I feel like people still alive, who live through that. And also, like I mentioned, I almost could smell the sweat, the clothes, I can feel that because my experience, the countryside, to live with, to work with the poor Chinese peasants, they're not much difference. Just the Chinese, and there's Filipinos. There's black, white, and Mexican, American, just all kind of people. So I feel like they could have been easily my people. They could have been easily my grandma gone through this. My grandma didn't have a chance to come here. I come here, maybe I should learn more about the history. Also, maybe I should adopt some ancestors. People adopt children. I think we can also adopt each other's ancestors as well.
So are you suggesting, that's fascinating, that you actually see part of your own legacy in your history through the faces of Dorothea Lange?
Absolutely, absolutely. I feel like the black boy, his face, it reminds me of so and so even have a name, that countryside. It's just you can almost feel like I know him. I know him. I know her. Even though we never met, it's like two generations apart. But somehow, I think that's what I like about historical photograph. Not today post like also too many, but it's very one click of negative, and you didn't know what you catch. You try the best, right? And then go back to dark room. What I did in China, actually, I know how to use chemical, and it shows up. It's like, oh, I didn't realize. Oh, behind this woman, there's a cow. Oh, there's somebody making face. Oh, whatever. So Dorothy Allen gone through all that use. She had to calculate how many film, exposure left, and then carry back. Then went to her dark room. So finally say, oh my God. So I just felt like I almost had first-hand experience with her, and to seeing through her eyes, connected to her subject.
See, when I look at your work, and from the first time I saw it, you have this amazing way of just taking us into the heart and soul of your subjects. Mm-hmm. You feel it. In the same way I feel that when I look at Picasso or David Hockney's images of Celia and others and so forth, you get drawn into it. Mm-hmm. Yours has more anguish for me, like Francis Bacon, for instance. Mm-hmm. You can just feel the power of it's just you just start. It's like a cloud just starts consuming you, and you sense you're reaching into their heart, their soul, their being.
That's very, very, very well put. I'm so glad you talk about I had that kind of relationship. You got it. Really, I felt that way. Speaking about you remind me when David Hockney visited China in 1980. I was a graduate student at the Central Academy of Fine Art. He visited us. He said, "Can you show me some work?" And my fellow guys showed whatever, oil painting, different thing. I probably grabbed a bunch of Buddhist cave drawings I did in the remote along the old Silk Road. And in his book, China Diary, he said, Mrs. Liu. Why Mrs. Liu? I don't know. Mrs. Liu showed the work is rather kind of religious because it's Buddhist cave. Said this could not be happening during Cultural Revolution. I'll show you the book. It's so interesting. He took picture, and I have two fellow graduate students. They doing whatever, and then I look at the camera like that. And then I said, that's another way resist. If I go back to history, our heritage. Even Buddhism, not religious, but it's not a socialist realism. So I feel like, that's another way to push back. I studied mural. That's our heritage.
Let me ask you just an odd question technically. When you shift from Asian faces and characters to African-American black faces and characters, to Hispanic faces and characters, is it just seamless for you, or is there something different about painting Caucasian, Hispanic, African, black, Asian faces?
You have to, for me, I think it's just figure out what the main colors to do a black face. I do have black friends, students, so I know, not black is from Mars, I know, but how to mix the right color. The chocolate man, whatever, it's not a chocolate, there's maybe sometimes to me like a bronze, like metal, maybe they need a cool color, just to need to figure out. And for also, I know Mexican Americans, Latinos, artist friend, now the artist friend, even next door, there's a couple, have a cafe. I saw them. So it's I think is a part of American. It's not too foreign, too exotic to me. I just need to figure out. Even among, just like say to Chinese, some Chinese yellower, some redder, some pale, some like really shiny, and depends. Age makes different, gender makes different, occupation makes different. So all this stuff is not a.
I think we all probably are curious about where your inspiration comes from and how you work. Do you create a little drawing first of what you want to do? Does something? How do you make your art?
No, I don't do little drawings. I sometimes on airplane, I look at a lot of, one thing I like used to work on the airplane, especially long flight to New York, to China. I have a photograph, I look at it, just study them, say, wow, this can be a 80 by 80 painting. This can be just that's kind of thing, but really not a study. I go directly to that. The little portraits there is really because someday I feel guilty. I was, trained almost by military in China. I have to accomplish something today. If I didn't do anything, I don't deserve to eat dinner. So work for dinner. So I feel like today I must do a little something to say, to like evidence I worked. So those little portraits, someday I didn't do bigger things. It's like I'm going to do it, but today I wanted. So those little portraits, just a freehand I look at. It's not like a study for a bigger painting. Just feel like I needed to do something to make sure that on the record is not blank. I did something. That's a way I discipline myself very much.
Since you retired from teaching, do you have set studio hours? Roy Lichtenstein used to get there at 9 o'clock, work till 5. That was it every day. How do you balance your life?
It's relatively flexible, but I would not be lazy. That's just cannot. I cannot live that way. Also, in general, 3 days in the morning, get up, do exercise. There's a club, I joined with class, Pilates, and TRX, different things. The thing I do it to make sure I'm strong enough, work all the way to the last day of my life.
Do you work on multiple canvases at a time?
Yes, sometimes I do that because it's like you probably write, some writers, they like write a long novel, but then I step out sometimes and do some little short things. And so that sometimes you stuck like writer's block. You feel like I need to think what's next step. Sometimes it's on the way. It's great. It's on its way, and then I need to start. It's a different energy. When you start something, it's different than about the finished. So it's a different kind of energy. You jump on, you go fast, you almost like, throw paint, and then the other one's like, you can listen to Beethoven, number 5. Oh, number 9 may be peaceful with a ode to joy, and then maybe the Dvorak depends,
So how long does, on average, do you take to complete a work, painting?
Summertime's longer because a long day. I like to paint natural light, if I have to, it's artificial. So summertime could be easily 8-hour day, It won't get dark until 8. Even you come 12, you still have 8-hour day. But it's now today it's the computer. Sometimes you have to do paperwork. That's annoying sometimes.
So has it been hard, or is it hard for you to see your work, aside from having to make a living, is it hard to see your work leave the studio and be sold, or does that just bring joy to your heart?
Sometimes the few paintings I wish I could keep, but also I think most time they in good family. Sometimes I joked, if you got my painting in your family, we are in-laws, you know. We are relatives. My baby is with you, and I know in good place. And also sometimes the gallery ship my painting, like Tanya ship all my painting to Santa Fe. Say, thank God I have an empty studio. It's her problem, not mine. I can start all over again. So that's kind of when the waves like, yes, now I can do new paintings.
When I asked you about various mediums, what you said was that you like challenging yourself, whether it's etching, screen print, woodblock, oils, whatever. So what is inside you now that you're thinking, gosh, I'd sure like to do something, push that envelope again, technically, thematically, whatever. What's going on there that you can't wait to sort of push yourself to do next?
Just go crazy one day without carrying anything. Maybe throw it up and do your hands on. Just you only live once. Just one day, just forget about anything. Let me just go nuts. I want, it's like how many times you can get totally drunk in life. How many times you can go totally crazy. I want to do that, actually. Maybe on the floor, maybe use everything, don't care, not wear good clothes, whatever, just do something. I don't know, yet, not yet to come. Well, you would be the first one, I'll let you know. I would do crazy things.
Well, all of us that just are so inspired and touched and moved by your art can't wait to see the next crazy things you do.
And thank you for your support. First is by name, then finally I met you in person once, twice. You just more charming than ever that I know, but also really big support of it. Just your dedication. That's also really unique. One of a kind in the world. I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you.